Welcome to Specific Love. Today I want to show you how we made this awesome pallet bed frame for our oldest son. My son prefers to sleep low to the ground, so he has been lying on a mattress and box spring combo that rests on the floor. For a Christmas gift, my wife, youngest son, and I decided to upgrade his bed frame and mattress to a heavy-duty pallet version that still remained near to the floor. He first began picking out the best remaining pallets we received a couple of months ago, and then my youngest son started the sanding process. The sanding was the longest and most tiring process of the entire build because we had to remove all of the visible dirt and splinters from the outside and inside of each pallet. To get to the inside of the pallet, I used a wire brush that I screwed to a 2-inch furring strip. This tool actually worked quite well and it removed most of the debris. During the sanding process, it was also a good idea to make sure all of the nails were fully seated to avoid them causing issues later. Now while my son was sanding, I took a few measurements for the legs. I wanted to slightly lift the pallets off the floor for extra storage and air ventilation under the pallets. I decided to make 4 with legs which measured about 39 3/4 inches. And by doubling some 2x4s gave the height to about the same size as the original box spring. For the first leg setup, I decided to glue them together for extra strength and then realized I forgot to attach them to the pallet. So I quickly disassembled them, added a few screws through the board into the pallet wood, and re-glued them back together. Even with some of the unevenness of the pallet boards, the 2x4s created a nice flat leg for the frame. Now for the second pallet, the total length would have been too long for the mattress. So I decided to trim off one of the sections using a circular saw. The cut needed to be good, but it did not have to be perfect because the side was going to be in the middle and unseen. I then screwed the second exterior leg in place and glued on the base. For the center support, I used a 2x6 that was also trimmed to 39 3/4 inches. I also cut one additional 2x4 for this setup. I then attached the 2x4 to the center of the first 2x6, making sure they were perpendicular. I then glued and screwed the second 2x6 together. This setup will allow both of the pallets to rest at the same height where they meet. At this point, we brought out the new mattress and my son wanted to give it a few test tries to make sure it was sturdy. Now to make sure the pallets would not separate over time, I wanted to add a couple bolts through the frame. So I measured out the exact location and used a 1/4-inch bit to create a large hole through each pallet and the center support. I then test fitted a 6-inch long 3/4-inch bolt that fit nicely. I will be able to use a wrench and a ratchet to tighten this up later. Now for the color, my wife chose and applied a gray stain to the 2 main pallets. She also reminded me that she wanted a headboard for the frame, so my son and I began on it. To make the headboard a little nicer, we decided to use some of the leftover pallet wood paneling that we used in a previous video making a kitchen backsplash. I will put a link to that video in the description. But before attaching the paneling, I added a sideboard to the pallet to give it a smoother appearance. I then added a layer of liquid nail to the face of the pallet, carefully aligned the paneling, and added a bunch of weight to hold everything in place while it dried. After it was dry, I drilled a couple of attaching holes into the headboard and base pallet. Then on the back side of the headboard, I drilled a 3-inch hole so I could have access to insert a 4-inch long bolt. This will keep the headboard from falling during use. And after everything had dried, we removed my son's old bed and brought in the new. I quickly bolted everything together and we added the mattress. The end result looked great and my son was very happy with his new setup. Now this was a great project and my son loves his new setup. Now keep in mind, if you plan on doing a pallet bed frame like this, there's a bunch of sanding and scraping to remove all the dirt and debris and all the splinters from all the pallets, or it could be a problem later. But if you do it well, this could be an heirloom that you could possibly pass down to the next generation. Now if you like this project, make sure you click the like button, tell us what you think about it in comments, and as always, have fun building.